The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download their top-rated sportsbook app. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code RTRS. And brought to you by Nature Pet Food. Slow cooked with Super Fusion, official pet food of the Ricky. Get 20% off your first By Nature order at chewy.com by using the promo code RTRS20. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter. Get yours at statesidevodka.com. On today's show, no matter how hard we try, no matter how many positive comments Doc Rivers makes about everybody during training camp, the James Harden rumors will not subside. As the new one is that James Harden is willing to go to several contenders, including the Sixers. Danny Green, Terrence Ferguson, and Vincent Poirier, is that how I say it, Mike?
Sure.
Poirier, are officially here. Al Horford officially gone. Farewell, Al. Danny Green says he's going to challenge Ben Simmons to shoot, and the ESPN Top 100 was out. We will go see where the Sixers fall on that list. Before we get going, we want to send our love and our best wishes to Ricky listener Nicholas, who is in the hospital with COVID right now. Sent you a DM. Is that where the DM came from, or the Ricky?
Me.
He said that the pod is helping him stay a little calm and keep a sense of normalcy, which seems like a lot of responsibility for us. Normalcy, if this is normalcy, again, that's strange. Calm, I guess. But we're hoping
whatever
to get
helps.
through it.
We're
buddy.
happy to do it.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it. Keep doing it until you're out. As soon as you're out, no more normalcy and no more calm. So get better, buddy. We're on your side. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who was discovered to be the murderer at the end of The Undoing. That is Mike Levin.
That show sucked.
Nobody saw it coming. I was not bored during the whole thing, but at the end, I was like, that was not that the ending was cheap, but the whole show felt cheap. It felt like big trick.
Look, It was a, less dynamic Big Little Lies. I didn't mind the idea, and I won't say what, like the concept of like the theory that they get to at the end of what like the whole, thesis of the show is. But I just thought the execution was it was so laughably bad. So many lines, so many just like, okay, everybody, none of it made sense. So many logic holes, and I don't really care that much. But when I'm laughing out loud during a, what's supposed to be like a pulpy drama or something, right. It's like,
it just
not what you want.
If it was going to be ridiculous like that, it did not feel like it was over the top enough. Like it didn't know that it was being funny. I guess I don't know.
I didn't have a terrible time watching it. I guess I enjoyed myself. Maybe that's what they wanted. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I did it. I'm the murderer.
Nobody even knew you were there. The Apple Podcast 5-star rating, 5-star review of the week. We're at 2,800. When we get to 3,000, I realized we're actually getting close, that I have to read reviews 2,000 to 3,000 on a pod. It's brought to you by...
I feel like you start right at the beginning.
No. I'm not reading the ones I already read.
Sounds like a guy who doesn't care that much about the reviews.
That was one of the worst feelings. When I started that first pod, which I think was 4.5 hours, I was like, this won't be hard. I'm sitting on my couch, literally like 8 minutes in. I was like, this is horrible. The Apple Podcast review is brought to you by our friends at Stateside Vodka. Look, what a perfect gift Stateside Vodka would be for Christmas or Hanukkah. Perfect
It
gift
is.
for the gluten-free, alcohol-loving person in your life, somebody who wants something filtered 7 times and made here in Philly and good as shit. That is Stateside Vodka. So go to statesidevodka.com. You got to be 21. All right. So,
And bourbon.
And bourbon. Is there still Black Label bourbon available? Somebody tweeted at us that he got some. It's limited time, the Black Label bourbon. The vodka and the bourbon. So the review this week, the subject line is WIP for Millennials. I knew you would appreciate this one. If you grew up in the Philly area, you know the unique genre of WIP sports radio. RTRS is the same and mostly in a good way. It's a podcast about the Sixers, but really it's a living love note to Philly sports culture. It's a celebration of our invisible community of weird, provincial, basically decent humans. Sometimes I wish they'd pump the brakes on the variety show bits, and I usually quit listening during the off season when the show strays too far from its core, but I am forever grateful that it's kept me connected to the city and its sports culture after many years away. 5 stars. Good, right?
Fair.
Yeah, I think fair. So the trade is complete. The long rumored question, or the question that everyone wanted to know, is Vincent Poirier going to be in this trade, was finally answered. It is. Al Horford is gone. Any farewell words in case Al is listening to this pod?
No.
It almost seems like he wasn't here. Like if the Sixers go on to win a championship, last year seems like it will be the year that will be completely forgotten, like the erased year.
Well, it's so weird. I mean, this happens in the NBA a lot now, I guess, or relatively regularly, where there's this big signing and it's all these years, and it's like, we'll see how this fits and how long, and man, he's going to be this old by the end of it, and he's going to be getting that.
Right.
And then it's just like, oh, it didn't work, gone, bye.
Yeah. Do you really want to be paying Al Horford, $30 million in the 4th year of this? It's like, well,
no.
Yep. And we won't be.
No, and we won't. And what a mistake. And that's all in the past.
And other question, if it were available, would you have done, probably the answer is no. And I think I've asked this before, but would you have traded Al Horford for Gordon Hayward? It's a good question, right?
Straight up?
Yeah.
For the contract that Gordon Hayward's on right now?
Yeah, the new contract.
I would say I'd rather have the trade that we did.
Even giving up the pick.
I mean, I like the flexibility. Theoretically, that pick's going to be in the late 20s. We have multiple, or I think so, early seconds still to come. Mm-hmm. You can get there. I'm not sweating that pick that much. I'd rather have the flexibility than the very shitty Gordon Hayward and his shitty style and beliefs and everything.
He's much better than if it weren't for so many injuries the last few years, it would be a no-brainer. But then again, he probably wouldn't have been leaving if he didn't get hurt so much. So he would give the team something that, he's good.
Sure.
Yeah.
The best version of him on court, not thinking about like anything else, is good and would help this. Yeah. But I think you get a decent amount of that with Danny Green, and it's expiring.
Just not the creation, not the creation.
Yeah.
So Vincent Poirier played for the Celtics last year. I don't remember him at all. He's a center. Did you know him?
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't have anything of it. Is he even in camp?
He gave a quote today.
He did?
Yeah, I saw a quote from him. Yeah.
If they carry a 5th center,
well, you got to.
We're back in 2016, baby.
It's part of the, we've been doing this since the beginning. You got to keep all the centers.
I can't do it.
So Danny Green has his own podcast. I think it's called The Green Room. I think that's what it's called. And he said a couple of things. 2 quotes. First one, I think that's another challenge for us, challenging not just Joel, but Ben not to worry about percentages. He's talking about shooting, especially early in the clock, early in the game. You can't be afraid to take those jumpers, keep the defense honest. Mind you, you shoot it pretty well. We see it in practice. We see you shooting online. We see you in highlights and clips. You're not a bad shooter. It's all confidence and mental. I am going to take it upon myself to challenge him to put himself in some uncomfortable situations or positions, make himself more comfortable doing those things, and then maybe take at least, it's like he's never heard of us, and then maybe take at least a corner 3 a game just to keep the defense honest. So okay, first question. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that he said this?
I don't know. We've just done it so much. I don't know if I can muster any energy to give a shit. Danny, you're the first person to think about this. You're the first one. No one's ever discussed, holding him accountable or, pressuring him to take that and not care about the percentages and all that stuff. You're the first one. Danny's inventing it. So sure. Hope it works. You got him, Dan. Whatever. Here's a flag. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well,
I just can't. We keep doing it. We keep doing the thing. And it's just like, he's going to do it or he's not going to do it. And,
well, it's funny to see somebody who hasn't been here. He's like, well, you know what I'm just going to do? I'm going to challenge him to shoot and say, hey man, I want you to shoot 1 a game. It's like, oh,
I got it. Good
thing nobody said that before.
I got the flag.
Oh, good. There's a win.
Big win.
There you go. Danny, who's the Karate Kid, Danny. I
forgot.
Okay.
Billy Zabka.
Yeah. It's funny to see somebody who has not been here and thinks that we have not gone through all of this,
right,
and just saying it like he's so innocent, and he walks into the gym and Ben Simmons read this and he either didn't see it or he already doesn't like Danny Green. So
I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
I don't know what works. I don't know what doesn't work. We're just here having some fun, playing some basketball during a once in a century pandemic. That's what else are we doing? We're smiling. We're living through it all. Come on.
Look, Ben, if you're not going to shoot now, when are you going to shoot? Danny Green's telling you to. The disease is out there.
The vibes are so good. Just all these vibes. I'm just getting pelted with vibes left and right.
You're in a one of a kind mood tonight, it seems.
I don't know. It's been a busy day.
Yeah. You okay? You want to let it out at all?
Just loose. Just feeling loose.
Yeah.
Little loosies.
Yeah. I'm powering through. Do you know what Whole30 is?
Sure.
So I did it once, and I actually did it for a year. I liked it so much. I felt so good. But as I've mentioned on the pod, I think every day since the pandemic began, I've drank every day, and I've ate less structured, like I like to eat. The difference between now and then is I'm vegan now, and Whole30 is really hard on that. So I'm on day 10 of this, so no alcohol. What's scary is the first 5 or 6 days when I would normally have a drink, I felt like I've never felt this way before. I'm not a big drinker or anything. I felt shaky. It was scary. Yeah. So I'm powering through. Just a little fact about myself. So if you're watching this, and the Stateside glass is actually water. It used to be Stateside all the time, and now it's water. So I'm faking it now.
All right. Take care of yourself, man. Come on.
I'm trying.
Well, season's about to start. We need you in training camp. Best shape of your life.
Right. Best shape of my life. Can't be having the shakes. James Harden rumors.
Yeah.
They are here again. So Harden has reported to the Rockets, and the report, I don't know, was it from Woj or Tim McMahon? It was the ESPN conglomerate that said that Harden is willing to consider a deal to other competitors, including the Sixers. So first question, my initial reaction was, okay, they told his agent, hey, look, man, the only way we're going to be able to get this trade done is if your guy shows up and says that he'll go more to one place. Because if he says he's just going to go more than one place, we're not going to make that trade. They're not offering us enough. So is he really willing to go to other places, or is this just a negotiating ploy?
Other places other than
Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Sure. I think he mostly just wants out of there because he's kind of got it in his mind that they didn't do enough to make the team better around him or the whatever. It seems like he's a superstar. Obviously he's one of the best offensive players of all time, but he's also like to blame for a lot of this stuff. Like when you build when you craft an organization around the habits on and off court of one player and people keep wanting to leave because, it's bad or there's no accountability or, it just isn't working or you're just not being a good teammate, then you have to like eventually look in the mirror. And it seems like no one's, forcing James Harden to look in the mirror at all.
Unless there's one in the club.
Yeah. And they try to keep no mirrors in the club as a sort of as a rule.
Right.
I don't know. I think he wants to go somewhere else. He's in a, blame other people phase. I don't know what it's going to take. If I'm Houston, I don't just move him to move him. You're probably not, this isn't a championship year anyway. So what you get in a Harden trade is going to set the course for the next, 5-10 years of your franchise. And so you really need to make sure you're getting the best possible thing. I think for them, the best version of a Harden trade is he comes in and starts playing well and is like, oh, right, he's still a 30-plus points per game scorer that you can't really stop. But I don't think you just trade him for nothing. I don't think you just trade him for like what's the best deal on the table now, like Karis LeVert and a couple, nice guys. Like that's not going to do anything for you. But it's weird that he's calling Houston like the Knicks of the South of the West.
Oh yeah.
When it's like you're like the longest tenured thing about the Rockets is you, bro. Like you're James Dolan in this situation.
Yeah.
But like he can do whatever he wants. He just has to, he also has a contract. Like he's got years of his contract left. So it's not like it's hey, I'm leaving at the end of this year, so just trade me or I'll walk. This is like we got years of this. So either come play basketball during like, the middle to, I don't want to say end of the prime, but it's closer to the end than the beginning of his prime, probably. And it's like, so come play basketball if you want to, or sit out and we'll just, draw this out and make it look ugly. Like it's not good for anybody, I don't think.
Yeah. And if there were ever a year for them to say, all right, buddy, don't come, like there's no crowds anyway. The only thing that they end up scared of is this whole, actually, before we talk about the whole like trade demand thing, let's talk about by nature pet food. Then we'll get back to James Harden because I feel like this is going to go on for a while. I don't want to talk about, so the guy that runs by nature, his name is Mike. And I was emailing with him this week. He is also Mike. And he said, so by nature pet food is like really good for your pet food, for dogs, cats. I've mentioned a bunch of times, they cook it slow so it stays nutrient rich. They use really good ingredients, really high quality proteins. It's really, really good for your pet. You should use by nature. Rebel uses by nature. You should use by nature. And Mike's like, one of the things that it also does is when you're taking your dog out for a walk, his poop is like not soft. It's like firm, so you can pick it right up. It's easier to pick up the poop. And I'm like, oh, that's a sell. And he was like, what if Mike, does like every time you do the ad, he gives out like the soft shit award for somebody who is soft. So, I mean, off the top of your head, could you think of an inaugural soft shit award?
Oh, man. Well, being put on the spot to give out an award like this without studying all the entries. I guess while we're in the middle of it, we'll just give it to Harden. Like you're blaming other people for the culture being bad. I think that's soft shit.
I love it. Get your pet some by nature. Here's the good thing to know is that, you don't have to worry about which one you get. It doesn't come in big dog, small dog, indoor cat, outdoor cat, none of that. It's good for them. So all of the food is good for all of them. Comes in all the different flavors. There's like chicken and there's salmon and there's all that stuff. And as I mentioned, premium proteins, super ingredients. It's good for them. Go to chewy.com, use promo code RTRS20. You're going to get 20% off your first By Nature order. When you do that, send us a picture of your dog or your cat with the By Nature, and we'll put them in the Good Boy Club, Good Girl Club gallery on rightsrickysanchez.com. So send that email to rightsrickysanchez@gmail.com. Again, if you want to learn more about By Nature Pet Food, it's bynaturepetfoods.com. But look, I'm telling you, good for them, super healthy, going to make your pet healthier, and also no more soft shit to pick up. And if you're a dog owner, you're pulling it out of the grass. It's sticking in the grass. It's disgusting. Chewy.com, RTRS20, By Nature Pet Food. All right. So what do you we've talked about it before, and it seems like every time that a player demands out, there seems to be this need to start talking about like labor and being on the side of labor. And if the team can trade you, then the player should be able to demand a trade. It does seem like it seems like there is a big difference between being on the last year of your deal and telling the team, look, I'm going to be out of here in a year. I'm definitely not staying. It would be in your best interest to trade me. And doing what Harden is doing now with 2 years left on his contract. And by the way, in a situation that, to your point, only went bad in part because of him, it is a very strange thing in that, like, it doesn't seem to benefit anyone but like 7 or 8 players in the entire league, or maybe 10 players in the entire league who can do this. And it does seem like the fix is, if you want to have that much flexibility, do what Kevin Durant and LeBron do. Just sign 2-year contracts. Part of the trade-off of all that money is the security for the team that you're going to be there. And the trade-off for you is that you give up that flexibility for all that money. It seems like they're going to have to do something because this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the team's supposed to do. You get in this bad, if you play hardball with them, you get a bad name around the league with superstar players. Yeah. And then if you just do whatever he wants, then it puts you in this bad position. Like, to a certain extent, New Orleans was feeling the pressure of this so early that they made moves to try to get good early. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They were so worried about keeping him. They tried to get better too quickly and ended up not being good enough and ended up having him leave. I don't know.
You're talking about Anthony Davis?
Yeah, Anthony Davis. What did I say?
You didn't say
I just said New Orleans. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like they have to do something.
Yeah, I mean, they basically traded Covington in kind of a salary dump. Yeah. And got a couple picks out of it, which theoretically are going to be okay. Not great. They got Christian Wood, sure. They traded Westbrook for Wall. We'll see. But like, the only reason they traded, it's just like, it's just too many things have happened to where like you don't feel good about the state of the organization this season, even with Harden. And you don't really feel great about any version of the state of the organization after Harden, because, they are out a lot of picks in that Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul trade. It's not like good. And like, that's why Daryl got the hell out of there.
But Daryl,
and I would say like definitely fucked them over. Like 100% him saying like, I'm just going to kind of spend a little time with my kid. And before he even finishes the sentence, he's signed a big contract with the Sixers. It's like, I get why he did it. Like, good for him. But I don't begrudge Houston for being pissed off at Daryl Morey.
Yeah, but I also think part of it was, if you believe the reporting on it, he had no desire to make the Russell Westbrook trade, which he sort of got pushed into by Harden himself and Fertitta himself, and it put them in a position where It put him in a position where he had to make a deal he didn't want to make. It didn't work. Yeah, I don't know. Does any of this make you think any less of Harden? Does it make you want him on the team any less? The like showing up in clubs the day before you're supposed to report when you're supposed to be home for 2 weeks and demanding out after causing all this shit. The answer for me is no. I still want him the same, even though I think all of this is shitty. Does it make you think any differently of him as a guy who theoretically would be your best player on a championship team?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like for like 17 reasons. Like, first of all, we're in a pandemic and we're not in a bubble. And so your teammates and the families of your teammates and coaches and staff around the team, whatever, are counting on you to like give a shit. And for him to like really not give a shit at all, as first of all, a teammate, and then also just like generally as like a famous person that could, do good in society. And he's just like, no, I don't give a shit. Not like modeling good behavior there. Not that it's his job, but
right.
He could if he decided to. Sucks. And it sucks for your teammates that are there, that are showing up to camp, that are like, taking like quarantining and taking the necessary precautions and everything. And to see that guy be like, well, I'm just going to do whatever. It's like, I'd be pissed off if I was his teammate 100%.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off at my neighbors across the hall, and I don't even like, they can do whatever they want, but I'm pissed off at them all the time.
You're not sharing a locker room with them. Either.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't share a locker room at all. And I'm never going to pass them the ball.
Not anymore.
No, not a chance. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a segment of, the discourse that is like, it's all about winning a championship and you just get all the best players you can and then you go from there. And like, sure, but like, this is stupid. Like inherently being a sports fan of a team that doesn't like really know who you are or care about you or just puts you in a box of just like fan, like it doesn't matter. Like nothing matters. And so like in a world where this is all dumb and everything we're talking about is dumb and everything we think about is dumb, like and caring about these teams, then you're allowed to care about them in a way that you want to care about them. Right. Like you're allowed to care about them in a way that's like, well, I'm already rooting for, jerseys and guys I don't know and whatever the fuck. So I may as well root for the guys that I don't know that I like rather than a guy that has alienated all of his teammates, doesn't give a fuck about, the health of and well-being of his teammates and their families. And, seems like he just, isn't the guy you want to build around. Like you don't get many chances of who you're deciding to build around. And although he's an excellent player on the court, one of the best offensive players ever, he still hasn't like broken through, partially because he, his effort on defense comes and goes from season to season. He's a fine defensive player now, but like the way he plays or the way he's decided to play or the way that the organization is, it just seems like
partially
he's not the guy.
Partially too, because Chris Paul pulled a hamstring too.
Yeah, of course.
There's that too.
But they were so close. He pulled a hamstring and they were so close. And then the answer to that was not, let's get healthy. Let's do it again. It was, fuck this guy, get him out of here.
Yeah, get me Westbrook.
Trade everything. And so I don't know. And so like, I'm of two minds of it. Harden's obviously an excellent player, and the idea of Harden and Embiid together with shooting around them and defense around them is incredible. But also, like that could just send us into the worst period in franchise history after that blows up and just is shitty and just like, well, we had a chance to. I don't know that. Like maybe it increases your odds at winning a championship in like the next year or two. But does it decrease it? Does it? Yeah. But does it decrease your odds of winning a championship over the next like 6 years? I don't know. I mean, like you do that math, you figure about it. Or is it just like that doesn't want, if you're Daryl Morey, if you're the Sixers, if you're Doc, whoever's making the decisions and considering this, is it just like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. This seems like the vibes are good. I'm getting pelted with good vibes in training camp. Embiid's best shape of his life. Simmons is listening to Danny Green's podcast. We're having a great time. Like, do you want to fuck with that? Like, and I would not hold it against them if they're like, yeah, we're going to go all in because he's one of the best offensive players of all time. Or they're like, no, just not interested. That doesn't seem really right for me. And I lean right now on the side of like, just not interested.
The problem becomes that Yeah, everybody goes, oh, that Pistons team, whatever. Throw away the Pistons team with Rip Hamilton or whatever. The problem, like, ultimately becomes you don't win a championship without one of the 5 to 7 best players in the league, and you don't win the championship without an elite perimeter player. You don't, and that is the problem. And this is what we talked about when they traded for Jimmy Butler, who is not one of like the 5 or 6 best players in the league, but one of the things I think you said and that everybody understood was that you don't get to trade for a superstar when everything's going great. For the superstar or with whatever that team, they don't become available that way. And the Sixers are not in a position to attract. I think players don't mind being traded here, and once they're here would like it, but Philly's not a specific max free agent destination. Sure. So whoever you get, here's the rub, right? Whatever chance you get, you either have to try to win it a different way, one way that is less likely to happen, or the guy that you're going to trade for is going to be imperfect in some way. And the question is it's doing math of things that it's impossible to do math on. What likelihood do you get winning a championship with Harden here? And then how does that compare to the likelihood that it blows up, and it shortens the lifespan of it? I don't know. I would still do it. Here's another question for you.
It Simmons for Harden straight up.
Yeah. I would, but I don't fault anyone who wouldn't. I don't fault anyone who. The problem becomes, I think, to an extent, what's happened with the league is that if you don't win a champion, I would love to have an extended period of time with Simmons and Embiid. Even if they don't win a championship, they get close, they have 5-6 years, whatever. But what ends up happening is that you don't really get that anymore. Because if they don't win a championship in the next couple of years, then everybody starts pointing fingers and somebody's gone. So we could have this dream of this lengthy thing. Look at the turnover we've had just in the last 3 years. You can have this dream of this lengthy thing with Simmons and Embiid, but I think it's more likely than not that they don't win a championship together as currently constructed. Even if there's a decent chance they win one, it's more likely than not that they don't. And I think it makes it more likely that you win one with Harden. But I wouldn't begrudge anyone who wouldn't do it. Here's my question for you, is that most of the rumors, all the rumors, have been for Simmons and not for Embiid. And I've gotten a couple of emails and some tweets. Well, what about Embiid? Why do you think all of the rumors are Simmons and not Embiid? Just because Embiid's better? Or why is that?
Yeah.
That's it? Just because he's better?
Yeah, I think that there's not that many teams that have, that they've talked to everybody. Bomani Jones talked about on his podcast, and Zach Lowe was talking about his, the idea of okay, who's good enough to be traded for James Harden, and then in a trade for James Harden, who still has enough requisite pieces to contend, right? And so the Sixers are the only ones that have 2 pieces, really. Although I guess you could say that Denver does as well. Not being discussed as much because it doesn't seem like they'd want to stay. Well, by the way, if I'm Denver,
the trade that Simmons mentioned actually made a lot of sense. Was a 3-team trade where Michael Porter Jr. ends up in Houston with a couple of picks. The players, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Dinwiddie, end up in Denver, and Harden ends up in Brooklyn. That actually makes sense, I guess.
I don't think it personally makes sense to get Harden, Kyrie, and Durant. I just think
unless they want to.
Yeah, sure. It just seems genuinely insane of a group of minds together and skill sets. Just seems like pretty wild to me. But I think Denver should do it. I'm not a Michael Porter Jr. fan. If they can put a package together of Michael Porter Jr. and stuff for Harden, that I think is a legitimate championship contender that I think Denver is not yet. Although they would be pretty weak defensively. They'd be one of the best scoring teams in the league. And hopefully you can encourage Harden because of how good Jokic is at passing. Hopefully you can encourage Harden to run some movement off ball.
Imagine Harden sucking wind in that elevation in Denver.
Sure. But I don't know. I don't know if teams want to. I don't know how many teams there are, and I think there are a couple that would just consider the idea of trading for Harden when you don't have a, Brooklyn or Philadelphia type guarantee that he would want to be there,
Right. Yeah.
Like if the Knicks trade for him, or if like San Antonio trades for him and takes a swing at it, like was an idea I had that popped in my head. It'd be like those kinds of off the beaten path teams that could be a little bit, not that the Knicks are off the beaten path, but like, hey, we have the pieces, and if he doesn't want to, we're going to make it. James Harden doesn't come around much, and we saw the Raptors go get Kawhi Leonard to win a championship. And so we're going to do it. I don't know. I think Embiid is clearly better than Simmons. And if you have like, I think people are like talking about it, but I don't know if they traded Embiid for Harden, that'd be crazy.
Well, also the fit with Embiid is a little more natural, obviously. I think with Harden than Simmons is.
Yeah, Harden's never played with a dominant big man, and he has.
No,
I guess Simmons is kind of a unique player that he doesn't play with either. But like, that's a number one type offensive option that you can give the ball to, which Ben isn't right now.
So my assumption is about a week or two into the season, he ends up on the Nets. That is what I believe. I believe he'll end up on the Nets. Kyrie Irving already talked about the fact, because he's such a good teammate toward the end of the year, that they need to upgrade their roster and get another star. So my guess is that's where he wants to go. And this is all a charade. And they're going to, just like the Pelicans ended up getting everything the Lakers had for Anthony Davis, even though he only wanted to go to one place. And I brought this up too, when Carmelo Anthony said he would only go to the Knicks, Denver got everything the Knicks had at the time. So I think they're going to get everything that Brooklyn has. If it's 4 1s and 3 swaps and Karis LeVert and all that, whatever it is, I think he ends up.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard to match salary when you're talking about like max style players that you want to trade for and also have a team around them. I think it is just a difficult thing. There's not many examples of like trades that work out for both teams when that kind of high level player is traded at this point in his career. There's just not that many examples. Like if they wanted to trade, like it's not going to happen. And it's a joke that I'm even saying this, but like if they were like Tobias Harris and a shitload of picks and some of these young guys, then like, you make it work and you sign veteran guys and it becomes like, let's see this crazy thing. But they're not going to do that. There's other options available. Like it's not going to happen. I'm not saying I wouldn't want Harden under any circumstance. It just seems like, I don't know. I really do think like you can like sports however you want to like sports. And if you watch your team and give a shit about them and you want them to succeed in this particular way or that particular way with these guys or not those guys, then it's fine. It's just, we're all invested in some of the dumbest stuff imaginable. And we spend a lot of time talking about it. And here we are doing it. But like, you just got to let other people, want to win it or come close how they want to. And when like our genesis was, I'm tired of just making it as an 8 seed. And I don't think that that's like the cap of this team. I think this team has championship potential over the next couple of years with these two guys. And now with Doc and Daryl, making the decisions. It's not saying like, I'm just okay, winning 50 games and losing in the second round. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I believe in this championship core, but still like having to not willing to do it in what could just blow it all up and be a not enjoyable time.
It's funny you mentioned Tobias Harris. I did have a bunch of people tweet me and go, hey, Tobias Harris is better than anything the Nets have. And I'm like, please don't do this. Please, like, it was the most Philly thing of all time. The most Philly thing of all time is, I know how we're going to get him. We're going to give the team all the shit that we don't want.
Sure. That's every fan. I think that's every fan base. I will say, as we get into the ESPN 100, I think Tobias is ranked too low, but we can get to that.
Yeah. All right. So the ESPN top 100. Now, the big one is, or the one that I think is a little more famous, is the Sports Illustrated one. But shitty Ben Golliver no longer involved in the Sports Illustrated one. I don't know when that one comes out. So the ESPN put out 100 through number 11. I have some Sixers and some former Sixers. and then one that I find completely ridiculous. Josh Richardson feels about right at 80. They have him right behind Dennis Schrader and Aaron Gordon.
Sure.
Seems about right to me. I did think it was stunning, maybe just because of the bubble, that they had TJ Warren ahead of Blake Griffin and Kevin Love, even though I think TJ Warren is good. That seemed a little shocking to me, but whatever.
Maybe that's a little high for Josh. Now I'm thinking about it, because there's 30 teams and there's 5 stars in each team. Obviously, it's not as regimented as that, but I don't think he's like middle of the pack starter. He might be a little bit lower than that. That might be a generous, like we thought last season was a little bit of a blip type thing. And maybe it was.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere in the middle, Robert Covington, who we always track in these lists, at number 60, right ahead of Davis Bertans and Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Sure. Respect
for Cov there. I thought that was good.
Love it.
3 spots ahead of Cov, making $25 million a year more. Tobias Harris comes in at 57, right behind
He's making
Zach
$25 million a year more than Covington?
Well, he's making like 36, right? And Covington's making 12.
Is Covington only making 12?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Was he still on the contract that he signed when he was here?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I think, yeah.
Feels like so long ago. That was 8 teams ago that we did that with Covington.
Well, and by the way, Zach LaVine is only making like 19 and Christian Wood's making 11, the 2 guys who are right ahead of him. So you think that's too low for Tobias Harris? I don't. I think it's about right.
No, I do.
Well, Christian Wood should not be fucking number 55. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's never played on an actual team. He's never played real minutes on an actual team. It's crazy.
I think Tobias should be 5 to 10 spots higher.
Okay, so for context, Chris Middleton, I believe, was number 35.
I'm not saying that high.
Okay, all right. So mid 40s.
Yeah, late 40s. He's
Okay.
Tobias at 57, so I'm saying like move him up to like 49.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look to see who is there. I bought an ESPN Plus subscription just to read this fucking list.
They got you.
Yeah.
They got you on the list.
Well,
Listicles.
Here's the thing, man. They put all of Zach Lowe's stuff behind the wall. So I'm like, you know what? Fine, whatever. Okay, so 50 is Domantas Sabonis. 49 is Spencer Dinwiddie. 48 is
that's high for Dinwiddie. Wow.
It is.
That is high for Dinwiddie. I think Tobias is probably better than Dinwiddie. As much as I would trade him for him right now, obviously.
Well,
I think Tobias is better.
They have 48 is Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker's way better than Tobias, Yeah,
I think
flaws and all.
It's fine the way. Yeah, that's fine.
47 is Oladipo. 46 is Karis LeVert. 45 is Gordon Hayward. 44 is Draymond Green. 43 Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know.
Now you're getting up there, but
yeah. Okay. Next one is this isn't Sixers, but how is Zion Williamson, number 19, right behind Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, and ahead of Bradley Beal and Pascal Siakam?
I mean, I think it's projecting forward. He was the number 1 pick. He was a rookie, and he played very well, if in limited minutes. And they're projecting forward what he will be. I think it's probably. So wait, they're saying ahead of Bradley Beal, and they list him as a better player than Bradley Beal right now.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. I think that's you could a little ambitious on the Zion ranking, but I don't think having him in the top 25 is too wrong.
And I'm not I'm a Pascal Siakam is overrated by internet dorks kind of guy, but it seems unfair to have him in front of Pascal Siakam too. To me.
I don't know. It's hard to like extract it from what is the contract and how young are they that are going forward and all that stuff. So I don't know if I needed to win one game right now on a faceless team and I needed a power forward, I'd probably pick Pascal for now. Wouldn't you do that with like around most rookies, even elite type rookies?
honestly, at this point, who would you bet will play more of the 72 games or will even be there? I think the Zion Williamson injury worries are very, 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 very real.
Lost
the
some
knee
weight.
stuff. Yeah,
lost a lot of weight. Slimming down. Get in shape.
Okay. Before we get to Simmons and Embiid, our presenting sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, Mike, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You are, everybody likes to think of you as a football expert. So Jalen Hurts starting on Sunday. We are 6.5 point underdogs to the New Orleans Saints, who will be playing.
Have they announced Breeze? Or
so it'll be the other guy, the running. Yeah, it'll be Taysom Hill and
the running guy.
Yeah, well, that's what he is. And then it is the Saints' third straight road game. Just FYI. So Eagles are plus 6.5. What do you think?
I think there's a chance that we have just some residual
juice,
Jalen Hurts juice, some that we just drift off of.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the smart money is always to bet against the Eagles. I think the defense has probably played like better than they've been lately, and so they could be due for just a get gashed type of game.
And the Saints have a really good defense.
And the Saints do have a good defense, and so it's not like they're unfamiliar with running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I think smart money is probably against the Eagles, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some pop.
Oh, actually, I want to see, is there, oh no, the player props aren't available for it yet. I can't wait to see the, okay, what would you set the Jalen Hurts over under passing yards at for Sunday?
190.
Okay, I had 165. I think it's like 165 and then like 63 yards rushing or something.
Sure.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's been a pretty dreadful season. I'm pretty excited to watch.
Really has been.
Yeah. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app and the presenting sponsor of the Ricky. For the holiday season, new promotions and odds boosts every day this week. Every single day this week. There's tons of games this week. There's like football every day. Basketball season starts in 2 weeks. Every day, there's going to be different specials for the DraftKings Season of Giving. Sign up bonus up to $1,000. Use promo code RTRS. You can do live betting. You can bet UFC 256. Triple your winnings. Any bet on UFC 256. Deposit when you want. Withdraw when you want. They're the sponsor of the Ricky. Do not use any other sportsbook. Just use DraftKings. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS when you sign up. Get up to $1,000. That's code RTRS to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus comprised of a first deposit. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, the two guys left, we think, because we don't know the top 10, the two guys left for the Sixers in the top 100. You never know if Seth Curry is going to be in the top 10. It's possible. Danny Green. Ben Simmons comes in at 16. Joel Embiid, lower than he's been typically in these lists, at 14. And then, of note, right ahead of Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo at 13, Jimmy Butler at 12, Jason Tatum at 11.
That's very, very high for Bam. I love
very
Bam.
Aggressive.
Come on.
Yeah.
But very high for Bam. And Embiid at 14 feels about right for how he played last year. Yeah. Simmons at 16 feels high. Especially Bradley Beal behind him. I think I'd probably put Bradley Beal ahead of him and in the same area as like Booker and Mitchell and Siakam and stuff.
So like closer to 20.
Yeah, like if he was like 18, 19, 20, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
A little high.
Yeah, Bam Adebayo I love Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo at 13 is aggressive. I think Jimmy Butler at 12 is about right considering what happened last year, certainly. And Jason Tatum at 11.
I didn't hear the sound of you stabbing your wall repeatedly as you said that underneath the table.
Look, when you have a really good fake playoffs in front of everyone to see, and the lowest rated playoffs in the league's history.
What does that matter?
I don't know. It's all part of it. It was a fluke that they were there, but they were there. So whatever. And then, because I think Butler is probably more like 15 or 16, but after that, I think 12 is totally fine. Jason Tatum at 11 seems fair to me, with a possibility of being higher, I believe, but that seems about right.
So Jokic is definitely going to be higher than Embiid. Is that going to make you feel something?
No, I mean, he deserves it at this point, you know?
Is Jamal Murray? Jamal Murray's already ranked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing with Jokic, look, I said he was too fat. He came to the bubble having lost a bunch of weight and had his best playoffs ever. Coincidence? I don't think so. He's a basketball player. He shouldn't be fat. Jamal Murray's 21. Paul George is 20. They put Zion Williamson one ahead of Paul George.
That's disrespectful, and I kind of like it.
Paul George hasn't done
any thoughts about the Doc Rivers, Paul George sniping?
Well, like, look, I actually appreciate it. Paul George is really good, but he never sounds good when he talks, and he seems like I don't know, man. Like, he just ain't it. He's a guy who has to be like the third best player on the team or something. I don't know. I take Doc's side, not just because he's a Sixer. I just think I try to like Paul George, but every year he just becomes a bigger fucking lame-o than he was the year before.
I'm really bad at following this stuff. But didn't Paul George date Doc Rivers' daughter and cheat on her?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that Alyssa says that all the time. And when she just has her daily ranting about Paul George, which is delightful. Seth Curry is his son-in-law.
Correct.
Same daughter or no?
So you're saying that Paul George slept with Seth Curry's wife?
I'm not sure. I'm not tracking this enough.
Okay.
And Alyssa just keeps going, and I should drill down on what like the players in this thing are, but someone tell us what the situation is, because I'm very bad at following this stuff. If it's not on Bravo, then I'm not following the drama.
What I liked was that Doc Rivers shot back. I also liked
Brett wouldn't shoot back, and I think it's nice to have somebody that's like, you know what, here we go.
Fuck it, yeah. My favorite quote of his was when they asked him about Paul George complaining about the offense, and he's like, Ty Lue was right next to me. So.
Yeah, he's like dragging him down with him.
Yeah.
It really has to suck so much to hear a player who you like pandered to, and I would guess you could say this with Paul George and with Harden, of like, hey, practice is whenever you want it to be, and you can. Harden always plays. He loves playing, and even when he's like hungover, he's out there playing. So respect for that.
He's like a 36-minute a game guy. Harden.
Totally, he goes out there and does his thing. Yeah. Paul George, like deciding not deciding when he wanted to play, and not really whatever, like setting practices or when practice can't be, and like being late for shit. And it's got to suck to do all that as a coach and be like, I'm just gonna fucking be fine. And it's just like, just let him go. This is what you do. This is what you have to do. And like with people that are like very rich and can do whatever they want, like this is what you have to do. And I'm just like, I'm the bigger person. I'm gonna be the person. I'm a bigger person. And then to get a new job after it falls to shit, and then that person being like, you know, that fucking sucked actually.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It's got to be really infuriating. And I would love more Doc Unplugged about how that went down.
I'd like to propose, I'd like to nominate it really, it's your call, but it seems like the by nature soft shit award should go to Paul George.
Maybe for next week. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
We've already given it out. There's no takebacks.
Okay. A couple of mailbag questions. You can send us mailbag questions by sending us a note at writesrickysanchez@gmail.com. writesrickysanchez@gmail.com. Remember to send us one basketball, one non-basketball. This comes from Alex.
I do want to say that after we talked last week about the possibility of like some Sixers getting COVID, and I was about to say, what if Tyrese Maxey got it? And like, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say the words. I'm not even going to say any specifics. Like days later, and it's like, Tyrese Maxey is on the COVID list. He can't taste or smell, and we'll see. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's fine. But
well, he's back today, I think.
He played today.
I read earlier today or yesterday that Tyrese Maxey and Mike Scott were expected to be at camp today.
Okay,
So
I wasn't sure if it was like regaining team activities like fully in, or if there's like
I don't know.
You've crossed this protocol, but you're not quite there, so you're like working out individually or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, I wish it's just, hey, the rookie, it should come with real like liability. You should get just like a full hospital put in your apartment if you get drafted by the Sixers. Like it should just you should just live in the hospital and just like have it wherever you need. You just like you get the wing to yourself because you're the Sixers rookie. Congrats.
Any smart agent would say, don't you dare take my guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, all things considered, if he's back at camp already, of everything that happened, believe it or not, with COVID, it seems like Tyrese Maxey caught a break amazingly. Like is the first person who ever got COVID who caught a break.
What's more amazing is that you think it's the end of it. It's amazing that you think he's not going to like step on a rake that like impales his foot and like they have to take the foot.
Rake. What is he, a cartoon?
Who knows? Who am I to say?
This comes from Alex.
The gall to say he that's it. And he's done now and he's fine. And everybody's happy and is safe the rest of his life.
New York Times headline: first person to ever get COVID 5 times. Sixers rookie.
Yeah.
We wish you the best, Tyrese. From Alex: since so few people know the origin of Lickface, how many do you think know who the sex haver was who played 1 year before him? Also, did you know that player now plays with Nikola Mirotic and Alex Abrinas?
I did know that. I think someone sent me a Brandon Davies box score recently. He's great. He's doing great. He's out there distributing from the 4. Still has some lift. He's beefy. Yeah,
I think more obviously, I think if you're Brandon Davies, we all knew. Not everybody knew Lickface, but everybody knew Brandon Davies. Non-basketball question from Alex. Once post-pandemic starts, what is your first karaoke song? To clarify, this is karaoke to a crowded bar, not some private room with just you and your friends. Do you have a go-to?
I don't know. I'll probably just like get on the mic and cry. I plan on crying so much.
Maybe Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You, very sad. But you just mean actual crying.
Anything. Just so happy to be there and all that we went through. And I'm just going to go out there and just wail on the mic.
My 2 go-tos are To Be With You by Mr. Big and I Want It That Way. You need a song that the crowd can sing part of the hook with.
Sure.
Or what are you doing? And don't be that good singer at karaoke. Let somebody else go. This comes from Gabriel from the Philippines. Hi, Spike and Mike. I started to listen to the pod 2 years ago when I had to look for podcasts to listen to while riding the bus to and from work. I became such a big fan. I like how you have in the heat of the moment and sober takes on everything Sixers. I also love how sardonic and sarcastic you guys get. Basketball is serious, but it shouldn't be too serious. And I feel like you guys both get too serious and then go back to the right amount of seriousness. Anyway, here's my question for the mailbag. Which is the first Sixers player that's going to violate the no nightclubs, bars, etc. restrictions imposed by the league, and how long should a shower last?
Separate questions. I feel like it'll probably be Embiid or Simmons, right?
Yeah. Well, it'll be Harden. No. I think, look, Joel has a kid now.
True.
So I'm going to put it, Joel did even though Joel's not a drinker, he did go out a lot. Simmons is a good bet because he does sort of have that. He does like going out. He does sort of have that, sort of aloofish, I'm going to do what I want sort of thing. But then you got vets, you got Mike Scott on the team, goes out. Who else do we have? I don't think it'll be one of the kids. I think Ben's a good bet. I put my money on Ben.
It'd be funny if it was Korkmaz.
Yeah, you know what? I will hold that story. I will tell you, and I will tell you. No. I will tell you an off-pod story.
Wow.
It made me think of something. I will tell you an off-pod story. This comes from Greg. Basketball question. Who will be the Twitter scapegoat for the Sixers this season?
I think it's very clearly Danny Green. I think Danny Green knows it's Danny Green. I think he arrived here shaking hands, knowing that, hi, I'm Danny Green. I'm going to be blamed for shit. I think everyone's okay with it, and I think he's got a good attitude about it.
Yeah, I think so. He says, I feel like Tobias might continue to get heat, but given recent history, Danny Green feels like the easy target. It's got to be Danny Green.
Yeah, Tobias has been here long enough. I think people like Tobias enough. I don't know. Maybe it's just a different time. I think like Tobias and Ryan Howard are similar. Like everybody likes those guys. You know, they're like a likable teammate, and they've now Tobias been here for a couple years, but like just is making more money than they are. League adjusted deserve. And so not their fault. It's the team's fault for paying him that much. But I do think that I feel like the vitriol towards Tobias is a little bit less than what it felt like Ryan Howard got. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the Ryan Howard was treated unfairly and was underappreciated. Honestly, the biggest problem with the Ryan Howard thing is that Tobias was never what Ryan Howard was before the contract. Like Ryan Howard was a fucking beast. I thought Ryan Howard was treated very, very unfairly. And we've only had a year of Tobias with the contract. So who knows? That is one advantage to all the Sixers players if they do trade for James Harden, because you could be assured that the Twitter scapegoat for the Sixers, if James Harden comes, will be James Harden. Like it's always James Harden. James Harden always ends up the scapegoat on all of his teams because he shoots every time.
Daniel House got kicked out of the bubble and it was still James Harden.
Yeah, right. Non-basketball question. What are the Rickies' favorite holiday films? Do Mike and Alyssa curl up and watch Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York every year? Is Christmas Story played on a 24-hour loop in the Eskin household? Holiday favorites?
I love Home Alone. I love Home Alone 2. In fact, we went to John Gonzalez and Colleen Wolfe's backyard last weekend and watched Home Alone 2. And I was the one who enjoyed it the most. It's a great movie, and they hold it up in order to pull off a "Hey, we left the kid at home again" movie where he gets into hijinks and shit.
Yeah,
they did it very well. That is a hard thing to do to make it like somewhat justified. And obviously it's insane. I'm not saying it's not totally insane that they would leave their child in a different place in back-to-back years, but they did a very good job, as much of a good job of possibly justifying it as they could. So I absolutely respect Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, for doing it. My dad, it's the movie that makes my dad laugh more than anything else in the world. Watching the movie, just hearing my dad laugh in my mind is worth it every time. Like Love Actually, like The Holiday, like Christmas Vacation. We watched Nightmare Before Christmas a couple weeks ago. Got a ride for 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler animated movie. That movie makes me cry all the time. I cry during Home Alone as well. You got to keep it wide. I watched Lord of the Rings every holiday season, which is not obviously a Christmas movie, but it feels right. You mix it up. You got to keep a good variety.
So, funny enough, Christmas Story was always on a 24-hour loop, but not in this Askin household. My mom loves that fucking movie. Loves it. She ruined it for me. It was on so much. I really did like that movie, but she ruined it. I'm not a big holiday movie guy. I guess I would say that my favorites are Home Alone and Scrooged. I think Scrooged is a really good one. I think it's aged well. So, I think all of them are fine. I think Elf is kind of annoying. It's got some funny parts, I guess. Is Nightmare Before Christmas even really a Christmas movie?
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to,
think so.
Kidnap Santa Claus.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say there's people are talking about this already, but if you are looking for a new Christmas movie, Happiest Season is on Hulu. It's pretty funny. It's delightful. I think I might have talked about it before. I actually don't remember. But it's funny and charming and features an insane relationship performance that they will try to convince you is actually good, but is just like, she should be jailed. Mackenzie Davis is her name? Yeah, Mackenzie Davis. It's a good movie.
Here's a little anecdote before we go. Christmas anecdote. My father Jew, Howard Eskin, loves dressing up like Santa Claus.
Tracks.
What's that?
That tracks.
When I was younger, Santa age, and my younger sibling Santa age, I'm the oldest of 5. He would dress up like Santa, go to, his friends who had kids. He would show up at their house with presents on Christmas Eve, would stop by our house and stay far enough away from my siblings for anyone to know that it was Santa. The world became aware of this when the Eagles were going to play, I think, a Christmas game. And at the press conference the Thursday before, Chip Kelly was up on the podium, and my father showed up as Santa Claus to the press conference and greeted Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was horrified. There's got to be video of it somewhere. So, and my father's favorite Christmas song is Little Drummer Boy. He fucking loves it. I don't know what to say. Great. Loves Little Drummer Boy. All right. We are basketball. Basketball is like less than a week away. The first preseason game is the 15th, I believe. Right. Very exciting. We'll have some good season preview stuff on the site from AU, from Sixers Adam, from Mike O'Connor, and then Zoe in the newsletter, all that kind of stuff. So it's coming. Basketball's coming. We'll talk to you this weekend. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
But if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Time for plan B.